We are back in this motherfucker. I'm gonna turn this hoe off. We're gonna get back in the proceeds and shit, so that we don't have these technical difficulties. Cause goddamn, that is something I'm not finna keep dealing with till I get my shit together. Y'all can check me out right here, and we're gonna figure this out real quick. Small cam unite. All right, we in the game here. Wait for my brothers to get in. And we're gonna rock out with our cocks out, guys. Alright. Let's get back into the speech of where we were. I love how dignified she is. Let's pull this one up here. This camera is astronomical right now. Put this thumbnail away. And do our damn thing, guys. Alright. Here we go. Hope y'all can see clearly. Now the rain is gone. Let's get into what the hell she got to say. Hope I can move this down now. Alright, now we in the game, y'all. Let's get it. Kamala, take the floor.
Look, I am so proud of the race we ran. And the way we ran it. And the way we ran it. Over the 107 days of this campaign, we have been intentional about building community and building coalitions, bringing people together from every walk of life and background, united by love of country with enthusiasm and joy in our fight for America's future. And we did it with the knowledge that we all have so much more in common than what separates us. Now, I know folks are feeling and experiencing a range of emotions right now.
Yeah.
I get it.
We're pissed! We're pissed!
But we must accept the results of this election. Earlier today, I spoke with President-elect Trump and congratulated him on his victory. I also told him that we will help him and his team with their transition, and that we will engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
You go, girl.
A fundamental principle of American democracy is that when we lose an election, we accept the results. That principle, as much as any other, distinguishes democracy from monarchy or tyranny. And anyone who seeks the public trust must honor it. At the same time, in our nation, we owe loyalty not to a president or a party, but to the Constitution of the United States. And loyalty to our conscience and to our God. My allegiance to all three is why I am here to say, while I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. A fight for the ideals at the heart of our nation, the ideals that reflect America at our best. That is a fight I will never give up.
Can I just say, she would have been a hell of a president. Let's not forget, guys, the reason why she disappeared as vice president is because she had smoke with Joe Biden. Her administration had smoke with Joe Biden administration. She felt like she was being pushed and shunned and told to be quiet because she was a woman. When she seen that didn't go well for her, and she didn't have a fair chance at the table, she laid back. So, you're responsible. She wasn't Joe Biden. She wasn't over some of the things Joe Biden was responsible for. And with her as president, she wouldn't have had to answer to Joe Biden. Hence, the trouble she found herself in. Joe Biden, as was so stubborn, he refused to drop out of the race earlier.
I will never give up the fight for a future where Americans can pursue their dreams, ambitions, and aspirations, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own body and not have their government telling them what to do. We will never give up the fight to protect our schools and our streets from gun violence. And America, we will never give up the fight for our democracy, for the rule of law, for equal justice, and for the sacred idea that every one of us, no matter who we are or where we start out, has certain fundamental rights and freedoms that must be respected and upheld. And we will continue to wage this fight in the voting booth, in the courts, and in the public square. And we will also wage it in quieter ways, in how we live our lives, by treating one another with kindness and respect, by looking in the face of a stranger and seeing a neighbor, by always using our strength to lift people up, to fight for the dignity that all people deserve. The fight for our freedom will take hard work, but like I always say, we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work can be joyful work. And the fight for our country is always worth it. It is always worth it. To the young people who are watching, it is, I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. This is a time to organize, to mobilize, and to stay engaged for the sake of freedom and justice and the future that we all know we can build together. Look, many of you know I started out as a prosecutor, and throughout my career, I saw people at some of the worst times in their lives. People who had suffered great harm and great pain, and yet found within themselves the strength and the courage and the resolve to take the stand, to take a stand, to fight for justice, to fight for themselves, to fight for others. So let their courage be our inspiration. Let their determination be our charge. And I'll close with this. There's an adage an historian once called a law of history, true of every society across the ages. The adage is, only when it is dark enough can you see the stars. I know many people feel like we are entering a dark time, but for the benefit of us all, I hope that is not the case. But here's the thing, America, if it is, let us fill the sky with the light of a brilliant, brilliant billion of stars. The light of optimism, of faith, of truth, and service. H.U. And may that work guide us, even in the face of setbacks, toward the extraordinary promise of the United States of America. I thank you all. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. I thank you all.
Look how bad she is. The walk-off. Y'all can't tell me she ain't presidential enough. The walk-off is bad. This a bad ass. Come on. Look at that. She look fine as hell. Walking away. Look at that. You can't tell me this bitch ain't presidential. You can't tell me. Her husband look like a first nigga. Come on. Look at this. She don't look like she just lost a presidential election of the United States. Look at her. Look at walking like stud girl. Stud girl in defeat. That's what she look like. Look at that. Secret Service back did not know how to handle that. Oh my God, ladies and gents. Y'all have no clue what the hell's going on around here. Let's take a look at Barack Obama's statement here. All right, let's take a look. So Barack Obama has said, you know I'm blind. Over the last, okay, well, I'm blind. I'm legally and illegally blind. What the hell going on around here? All right. Over the okay, I can't even speak. Barack Obama. Should I do this in a Barack Obama voice? A statement by President and Ms. Obama on the 2024 election. This was posted November 6, 2024. Over the last few weeks, through election day, millions of Americans cast their votes, not just for president, but for leaders at every level. Now, the results are in, and we want to congratulate President Trump and Senator Vance on their victory. This is obviously not the outcome we had hoped for. Given our profound disagreements with the Republican ticket,
on a whole host of issues. But living in a democracy is about recognizing that our point of view won't always win and being willing to accept the peaceful transfer of power. Michelle and I could not be prouder of President, Vice President Harris and Governor Walsh, two extraordinary public servants who made it a remarkable campaign. And we will remember, always be grateful to the staff and volunteers who poured their heart and souls into electing public servants they truly believe in. As I've said on the campaign trail, America has been through a lot over the last few years. From a historic pandemic, price hikes resulting from the pandemic, the rapid change and filling a lot of folks that have that no matter how hard they work. Treading water is the best that we can do. Those conditions have created headwinds for Democratic incumbents around the world. And last night showed that America is not immune. Good news is that these problems are solvable, but only if we listen to each other. Only if we abide by the core constitutional principles and democratic norms that has made this country great. In a country as big as and diverse as ours, we won't always see eye to eye on everything. But progress required for us to extend God's faith and grace, even to people who we deeply disagree with. That's why, and that's how we've come this far. And it's how we keep building a country that is more fair and more just, more equal and more free. That's my statements as Barack Obama. Let me get into these comments before I interject. So, Sean Thomas said, I disagree. She's a yapper. My friend says she likes him when he doesn't know what to say. But this speech is very humble, talking about Kamala Harris. This is the first time I like what she had to say. The American people decided that she did not have what it takes. Okay. She clearly has what it takes to be president, but whatever. You're right. American people did choose because they had a majority. I can't even sit here and argue with you like I really want to. God damn it. Sean Thomas says, bro, Eric, you just thirsty. Talking about Kamala Harris fine as hell. She is. Fine as wine, goddamn it. Sean Thomas says, good of Barack Obama impersonation. Overlord. Barack. Overlord. Obama. Had his third term running the show with Biden. Luckily, he can't do the same with her Kamala. Lord have mercy. Obama voted for Trump. Nigga, please. All right. So, we got Obama's comments. Let's take a look at Senator Bernie Sanders. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party has abandoned working class people who find that the working class had abandoned them. While Democratic leaderships defend the status quo, the American people are angry and won't change. And they're right. Let's take a look at what he's talking about. All right. Today, while the very rich are doing phenomenally well, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I sure do. And we have more income and wealthy inequality than ever before. Unbelievable. Real inflation accounted for. Weekly wages for the American worker are actually lower now than they were 50 years ago. Today, despite an explosion in technology and the worker productivity, many young people will have a worse standard of living than their parents. And many of them worry that artificial intelligence and robotics will make a bad situation even worse. Today, despite spending far more per capita than other countries, we remain the only wealthy nation not to guarantee health care for all human rights. And we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. We alone, among major countries, cannot guarantee paid families and medical leave. Mind you, presidential-elect Trump is not saying this shit.
Today, despite strong opposition to a majority of Americans, we continue to spend billions funding the extremist government's all-out war against Palestine people, which have led to horrific humanitarian disaster of mass malnutrition and starvation of thousands of children. Will the big money interests and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain in politics alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? I can't speak right. Do they have any ideas as to how we can take an increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has more economic and political power? Probably not. In the coming weeks and months, though, those of us concerned about grassroots democracy and economic justice need to have some various political discussions. Stay tuned. Bernie Sanders, nigga, your ass been out of commission for I don't know how long, nigga. So you telling me some shit I mean, come on now. So that obviously is that portion of the show. We got Trump ass. Now, mind you, if you're coming on this show, let me go ahead and see, because niggas agreeing. Bernie is the only honest Democrat. I love him. Bernie is not even a Democrat. He's really an independent. If it was Trump versus Bernie in 2016, I think he would have won. I agree with Sean. I would have voted for Bernie. But you got to remember, that was Hillary Clinton's time. And Hillary Clinton and Bernie went head to head, and Hillary Clinton wiped the floor with his ass. And he conceded. So, Bernie ass tried to run again during the Trump-Biden situation. Not really. Clocked out early. And that was it. You ain't seen that nigga again. But let's take a look. Biden outperformed Harris in battleground counties. This is what broke the race.
I'll tell you the other thing that's really striking here as we look at how Donald Trump won and how Kamala Harris lost. I was struck, Hoda, when you were going through the board with Steve Kornacki just a couple of minutes ago. I'm thinking, where is there any battleground county where she outperformed Joe Biden? Is there a single battleground county where she actually did better than President Biden did here? So I checked in with a source. You may know him, Steve Kornacki. There's a couple, the suburbs of Atlanta and like one county in Pennsylvania. But overwhelmingly, there is not a place where she did better than Joe Biden in this race.
Sean Thomas says, I can tell Bernie actually cares. Brother, you can't tell Kamala cares? You couldn't tell she gave a fuck? You can hear it in the bitch's voice. She damn near finna cry on stage. And we talking about women being emotional. Why didn't she cry? You mean to tell me because she was because I've heard comments. Oh, well, she's a woman. She gonna fuck it up. She can't keep her emotions in check. She was strong. In defeat. The biggest stage you can lose. You see her walk off. Lord have mercy, I pray for us. As Americans, I pray for us. We're fucked. Let's take a look at Trump speaking to his supporters, expressing, and before I go on, Sean Thomas says, Kamala cares about herself. And so does Donald Trump. I mean, what the fuck are we talking about, Sean Thomas? If Bernie wasn't so far left, I would have liked him.
Thank you very much. Wow. Well, I want to thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends in this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country, and maybe beyond. And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. We have a country that needs help, and it needs help very badly.
Did you get what you was looking for, Trump? Because in the first election, you lost the popular vote. Now you got the popular vote. You're saying you're going to help the country heal because even though you're fucking responsible for fucking shit up even way worse than what they were, putting gasoline on the fire, you won't have to face re-election. Dana White even gets on the stage. Now, mind you, we covered the Trump speech. I had to shut down the show. There's a part 2. This is the part 2. The part 1 you need to see before, where I go over partially Kamala Harris' speech and main portions of Donald Trump's speech. Let's take a look at Dana White addressing Trump supporters.
Nobody deserves this more than him, and nobody deserves this more than his family does. This is what happens when the machine comes after you. What you've seen over the last several years, this is what it looks like. Couldn't stop him. He keeps going forward. He doesn't quit. He's the most resilient, hard-working man I've ever met in my life. His family are incredible people. This is karma, ladies and gentlemen. He deserves this. They deserve it as a family.
Dana White respectfully, shut the hell up! You rich motherfucker! Let's take a look at Donald Trump winning the swing state of Pennsylvania.
NBC News has a projection to make in the presidential contest in the swing state of Pennsylvania. NBC News now projects that that presidential contest has been won by Donald Trump. Now, I believe that means that we are at a 266 electoral vote count for Donald Trump. Kamala Harris at 194 electoral votes.
Boy, I love me some Rachel Maddow. I love me some Rachel Maddow. Sean Thomas said that was not respectful. Fuck him! That rich bastard. He's slapping up on his wife and shit. Don't think I forgot, nigga. Beat her ass in public and shit. Fuck him! And the nigga got the nerve to be on the stage talking about a presidential nigga and karma. Oh, that nigga gonna get his. And I love you, Dana White, so don't think I'm talking shit, but I'm pissed right now. You on the wrong side, nigga. You rich ass. A news station. This is when, once Pennsylvania came through, then at that point they went ahead and gave Wisconsin. And this is the newscast expressing Trump's win.
And the nation is waking up with Donald Trump set to make an historic return to the White House.
Let's show you where things stand at this hour. The former president, now the president-elect, with NBC News projecting he has now topped that magic number of 270 electoral college votes. And take a look. This is how he's done it, winning across the South, including the key swing states of Georgia, North Carolina. You can also see a lot of red in the so-called blue wall, the big battleground prize, Pennsylvania, as well as Wisconsin. Wisconsin called just moments ago those two battleground states going for President-elect Trump.
Wisconsin is what broke the camel back. I seen that shit. I went ahead and gave Pennsylvania, and of course seen Wisconsin. And at this point, once Wisconsin is called, at this point, there's nothing else to hold. Donald Trump is, of course, the 47th President of the United States of America.
Yes, we can.
NBC News projecting that Wisconsin was won by Donald Trump, and therefore, as you see on your screen, we are now projecting that the next President of the United States is Donald Trump.
He will reclaim the White House. The 45th President of the United States will become the 47th President of the United States, being elected for non-consecutive terms, a feat that has not been achieved since Grover Cleveland did it back in 1892. And there's the map.
Clear as day. Trump train, we won, Overlord says. Okay, God bless you, you son of a bitch. Trump win by CNN. I love CNN shit. Overlord, President-elect Trump is beautiful. Nigga, shut your homosexual loving having ass up.
It is now official. CNN projects that Donald Trump has been elected president, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris and making a political comeback unlike any in modern American politics. Now, we can make this projection now because CNN projects that Donald Trump has won Wisconsin. You can see right there, currently ahead by 30,000 votes with 99% of the vote in. Mr. Trump is only the second former president in U.S. history to be reelected to the White House. He will return to office after 2 impeachments in his first term, followed by unprecedented criminal indictments and felony convictions. Mr. Trump scoring a landmark victory as he now heads back to power, leading a politically divided nation. Again, CNN projects that Donald J. Trump is elected the 47th president of the United States.
Mr. Trump, that nigga being mad disrespectful. That's how the reporters get disrespectful to your ass. They pronounce your name incorrectly, or they do some shit like not say your name properly. Mr. Trump, you could have said former President Trump, which at this point is shade. The nigga is President-elect Donald Trump. So let's not get that twisted. If the nigga wasn't a president, he is a president now. And I'm tired of fighting against the nigga. It is America chose. It wasn't like the popular. If we was going off the popular vote, he still would have goddamn won. Let's take a look at one of Trump slobber knockers off of CNN expressing Trump's message resonated with niggas.
We need to recognize that over half of America feels very strongly about the things that Donald Trump feels strongly about, right? A secure border, the economy, crime. They might not be a perfect messenger, but the message resonates. Democracy is a luxury when you can't pay your bills. And I think, there are a great deal of Americans tonight who are sitting back and saying that they view as the elite and kind of sneering and saying, we told you so. We're not garbage. We're hardworking people. We believe in these things, right? People don't like to be talked down to. This coalition, this is Hispanics. Trump is crushing in Hispanics, the Hispanic vote in Pennsylvania, right? Allentown, we were talking about how, the Puerto Ricans would come out. He's winning those votes because you know what those people care about? They care about security. They care about economy. They care about those things around the kitchen table.
Fucking sick. So, let's take a look at something real quick. We're going to take a look, before we come back to this, I want us to take a look at this real quick. Let me fire up all these motherfuckers. Get this shit going. Hold up. Let me get this shit going. Hold up. 1 second. And while we wait for this bullshit, let's see what else. All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and get this live, pull this down. Let's take a look at this real quick. So, Kamala Harris, if we look, Kamala Harris earned 67 million, almost 68 million votes. Donald Trump earned 72. All right. If we're looking at it here, voting is substantially down. Trump had more votes the last election with 74 million, whereas this one he had 72. 81 million, where this one she had 67. So, essentially, do the math for me. 6 million. Hold up. Let's try this. Do this math for me. 60. This on the web. What is the sum of 67,927,989 plus 72,623,882
is 140,551,869.
Okay. So 140,500,000 people voted for this election. Right? Let me use this calculator here. Let's get into some shit real quick because I want to get to the math of this real quick. So 81,000 or 81 million. We're going to get to the sum of how many people did not vote. And I can tell you exactly who the hell they were. Plus 74, 224, 1, 3. All right. So realistically, 0. That's 155 million. And that's minus. Hold up. Can you repeat the last thing you said?
Sorry, there's nothing to repeat.
What was the sum again? Oh, this is on some bullshit. Okay. So, minus 140 million. Shit. This math is fucking me up. Hold up. Because I'm trying to do the goddamn math, and this shit is on some bullshit here. Alright. So, I'm going to pull out the calculator here so I can make sure I get an accurate number for everybody in this motherfucker. So, I got Joe Biden's and Donald Trump shit. Let's go ahead and get Kamala Harris, and we're going to do the math from there. Okay? All right. Couple seconds. All right. So we got 67, 920, 989 plus 72 million. I mean, we're dealing with big numbers here, ladies and gents. 2 equals 140 minus the math we just did here, which is now away. I mean, Jesus, fuck. Dealing with these numbers, I ain't got time for this bullshit. 4, 2, 2, 4. All right. 5, 5, 5, 0. I'm doing real hard math here, ladies and gents. 8, 8, 5. Okay. So about 14 million people, almost 14,957 people did not vote. 14 million people did not vote. It's only 2 million people did not vote for Trump this time around. So here's a question, ladies and gentlemen. Why in the how in the hell does 12 extra million people vote for Joe Sleepy ass? The nigga was sleeping before he became president. 12 million people vote for Joe Biden, and they decide to not vote for her. Look at this shit. How in the hell is she this close in New York? Or Illinois, for that matter? I'm blown away, guys. Let's take a look at the votes in Georgia. Hold up. Because I'm really finna get pissed. So, we're at 24 million for Biden. For Georgia, damn. More voter turnout actually came in Georgia. 24 million, 24 million. 26 million, 25 million. Damn. So they both did better than Joe Biden. So where is the... Okay, so where is this shit coming from? 160. We got to figure out where this influx of shit is coming from. They got to be from one of these battlegrounds. Pennsylvania. Let's look at this. 34 million, 33 million. Let's look at this. Because I got to figure out what the fuck going on. 34 million, 33 million. So that's about the same. 27 million, 27 million. What is it? Michigan, 28, 26. Okay, so 27. That's about even. It's about even. Some of those people that broke for Joe Biden end up breaking for Donald Trump this time around. Okay. 16 million, 16. I'm saying this a certain way so I can remember. I know my 16, so that's about right. Where the fuck is this coming from? 57, 40, 57, 40. There it is. What the fuck? What the fuck? 5,000, 4 million. Hold up. 5 million, 4 million. What the hell is California on? I mean, it doesn't even matter because it's a blue state, but god damn. This is not even a portion of our show, but fuck. I'm just looking at these numbers and yo, the fuck is going on here? Arizona, 16, 1,600,000, 1,600,000. Yeah, this voter turnout is fucked. Yeah, bruh. So yeah, that's how shit's shaking out. Shit ain't looking good. Alright? We can go ahead and turn this bullshit off. Shit ain't looking good, y'all. I mean, let's take a look at what we talking about. So, 295, what a beautiful number. It will soon go up to 300, over 300. It's a sad loss. Maybe we could have solidified abortion rights in the Constitution. Who knows? They might pass a constitutional amendment against abortion. What could Kamala Harris have done to directly win? Have more time on the campaign trail, to be honest. Yeah, could have had more time. Since we broke down the win, let's take a look at Steve Kornacki breaking down Trump's win on the election to answer your question, Sean Thomas.
Here we are with a decisive win for Donald Trump. Break down what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all remember 2020 and the timing. It certainly went faster. Well, you could see here in Georgia, in North Carolina, in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, those are the battleground states that have already been called. Trump is sweeping them so far with a few more still to be decided. Obviously, he's the president-elect no matter what. Going in Pennsylvania, and I can show you, though, where Trump has won this state by about 2 points. I think the way to sum up what he did in Pennsylvania and across all those battleground states is blue-collar voters and a more diverse coalition of blue-collar voters than we've seen in the past. Because you see here around like where Scranton is, you see it's blue, but Donald Trump made big steps forward here in that county. He barely lost it this time. He lost it by almost 10 last time. And then there's a number of small cities and mid-sized cities here in Pennsylvania, places like Reading, places like Allentown, with very large Hispanic populations, working-class Hispanic populations. And in all of those places, Trump has made some very significant gains here.
12 million votes. 12 million people did not vote. There's Kamala Harris win right there. The same people that voted for Joe Biden. It's proof. America's still racist. Because when it was all white man, we didn't have a problem with getting Trump the hell up out of there. And because this bitch is black, it's even more insult to injury. And let's not even add race into it. Because Hillary Clinton tried, and they didn't vote her ass in either. What's up with that? The Democratic voters that pushed Trump to victory.
Wisconsin is something that we've seen throughout the entire nation. It's representative of the nation as a whole. Look at this. Donald Trump getting north of 20% of the vote with black voters in the Badger State. 4 years ago, he was south of 10%, so he's doing more than twice better than he did 4 years ago. How about voters under the age of 30? Traditionally, a Democratic bastion of votes. It's a tie. It's a tie among voters under the age of 30 in Wisconsin. I never thought I'd see the day. How about first-time voters in the Badger State? Donald Trump leading among first-time voters, leading by 17 points going away. Joe Biden won this group rather easily back in 2020. If 2016 was the story of Donald Trump and white working-class voters, this 2024 is about going into Democratic strongholds and taking those votes away and putting up historic numbers among those groups.
Yeah. And 12 million people didn't vote that voted previously for Joe Biden. Which means we have 12 million Americans, according to this election, that didn't like either candidate, that felt it was necessary to not vote at all. And here's the thing, when you don't like either candidate, which is crazy why you do not like a bitch like Kamala Harris. Which is interesting because her own state where she comes from voted less in numbers, which is crazy. But that wasn't the only thing that was a factor in this specific election. Because overwhelmingly, black men voted for Donald Trump, including Hispanics.
You know, one group that really sealed the deal for the former president, and this was an unexpected group, black men and Hispanic men. Donald Trump increased his margin significantly among both groups. In Pennsylvania, he got around 25% of black men. In North Carolina, 21% of black men. Republicans haven't seen numbers like that since Richard Nixon. The Republican Party has effectively become a working-class, multiracial party. George W. Bush wasn't able to accomplish this. Mitt Romney couldn't do it. John McCain couldn't do it. And yet, Donald Trump was able to do something that no one expected him to be able to do. It's unprecedented. It's going to make a difference. And the question becomes, as this gender and racial realignment continues, what does that mean for the future of the Republican Party, but also for the future of the Democratic Party? Voters sent a mandate, now it's up to Republicans to follow through.
Voters indeed sent a fucking mandate. And now that they have control of the House and they have control of the Senate, they better come through on all their goddamn campaign promises. Because remember, when Donald Trump was president, he talked about a wall. He talked about repealing place of Obamacare. None of that shit came true. So why? These black men are voting for Trump? Why these Mexicans, which is beyond me, because a lot of Mexicans are racist as shit and try to align themselves as Caucasian people. Trust me, I see a lot of Hispanics. And those, as the term is called, whitewashed. Ones that like country music, ones that don't like black people. There are a lot of Hispanics like that. Try to align themselves with more of the Republican ideals, not understanding that at a moment's notice they're going to try to get rid of their ass because they're stealing our jobs and shit, as these racist people try to say. Clear as day. Black people are the reason why Trump won this time. And let's take a look at Trump voters and what they say they want to see Trump do on day one.
What would you want Trump to do on day one?
On day one, well, we got to close the border. That's it. Everything trickles down from the closing of the border.
The first thing I want him to do is pardon every single January 6th protester.
Immigration, trade and jobs, and endless wars, ending the endless wars. I think those are going to be priorities for the new GOP moving forward.
I'm interested in protecting our borders. I'm interested in giving less money to foreign wars.
Do you think Trump will stop the war in Gaza?
I think he intends to.
I think there are people around who may not want to, but I don't think that they're going to have the final say. Trump is an anti-war president. I think he will try to bring Gaza to a ceasefire.
He's just going to come in and be like, I'm going to do whatever the I want, because I've been given a mandate.
He's been given a mandate. I'm very curious to see how that's going to fall out. 2, there's a lot of expectations. Close the border? That's crazy. Is Barron's voice really like that high pitch? Who fucking knows? Barron Trump finna be a fucking problem in the future politically. You better fucking believe it. Especially if his damn brothers don't get there before him. There's a lot of pressure. Close the border is crazy. Because isn't that what they were trying to do in the first place? And pardon the January 6 people is fucking crazy. So while we got Trumpers excited and happy and all that shit, let's take a look at Harris supporters at the night of the election.
The yards here at Howard University are now empty. Tens of thousands of supporters of the vice president came to hear what they hoped would be a victory speech. But as state by state was called throughout the evening, people trickled out. And then finally, Cedric Richmond, the chairman of the campaign, said that the vice president would not be coming. She'll be delivering what is almost certain to be a concession speech later on Wednesday. This is a disappointment of epic proportions as one battleground state after another fell into Donald Trump's hands. Supporters here were crestfallen, almost in disbelief. This will take a lot of time to sort out what happened during this 107-day campaign.
She did such a great job with a 107-day campaign. It's crazy. Leave the January 6 people in jail. We do need more border security, in my opinion. Okay, that's cool, but the Republicans voted against it. Correct, Overlord. Kamala Harris, they proposed a bill. Donald Trump shut that shit down so that during the election time, he could say you didn't do shit about the border. They tried to pass a bill. Mind you, at this specific time, Democrats had power in the Senate. And, of course, Republicans had power in the House. And it did not get through the House. Idiots can't make up their minds. Correct. And, Overlord, you voted for him, asshole. You saying this shit, but you voted for him. And now they're in charge of the free world. They have the power now. Especially going into January, they have the goddamn power. And let's see. Because with Democrats, they get in power. They don't do shit. Let's see. Who do you think will win the House this time? I just told you, bastard. The damn Republicans have the House and the Senate. At this point, they should be able to accomplish all the goals that they are setting out. But let's not take away for the work, the dedication, and what Kamala Harris did for America during this time of 107 days, which is unlike any other campaign for how far she came, garnering 64 million votes. And 107 days. Outstanding.
I just want to say a word about Kamala Harris, the vice president, because she really put herself out there over the past few months at great risk and peril to herself and her family. She was thrown into the deep end of the pool politically and hit all her marks and then some, and showed up for America, pushing back against negative forces from all sides and from those you couldn't even see, the ones we were just talking about. It's really difficult to describe what she did, what she tried to do, and the history that she did make. I'm very grateful for, and perhaps we will learn from it. So I'm very grateful for the effort, and I think we'll be asking a lot of questions about ourselves and about the nature of how this all played out.
Interesting. I would love to see Kamala Harris again. What would kill me is to see her fall again, given how much she did And given that she would have a start from the beginning, if Joe Biden stepped his old ass down, she would have had a better chance. We got Mitch McConnell, who's going to be stepping down at some point, congratulating Trump. And this nigga looks so... Why do y'all keep voting this nigga in? Get him out of here!
This is certainly a happy day for the GOP. And let me start by congratulating President Trump. What he's accomplished has not been done, as all of you know, since Grover Cleveland, which was a while back. I also want to commend the Trump campaign for running a sharper operation this time, and I think Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles deserve a lot of credit. They ran a spectacular race.
Overlord said, good, get Mitch out. Mitch is back on cocaine, it looks like. Lord have mercy. The nigga is senile, going through dementia, get confused, and Lord have mercy, god damn. And RFK Jr. says he will have a role in the second Trump administration.
Donald Trump has said that he would put you in charge of the public health agencies. What exactly does that look like?
Well, he's been very specific in what he said. He wants me to do three things. One, clean up the corruption of the agencies. Number two, to return those agencies to the gold standard science, the empirically based, evidence-based medicine. And number three, to make America healthy again.
So is that specific role to be the Secretary of Health?
I don't know. We have not decided yet what my official role is going to be.
What did you tell him you would like that role to be?
That's why I didn't tell him. I've told him that I want to think about it.
So in that capacity, though, you feel confident that you have been given the assurance that you would be able to have an actual role in the administration that would allow you to make those sorts of decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. He's asked me to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. He asked me to do that, and I'm going to do it because I'm Robert F. Kennedy, and it's very hard for me to talk, but I'm going to have to do it because Trump asked of me to do it, and I really wanted to become president, but these niggas couldn't get over my voice, so I probably need to smoke a pack of cigarettes after this to get my voice back to where it needs to be at a higher octave. Hold up 1 second. Yep, that's it. I should be a little bit more clearer. I'm Robert F. Kennedy, and I approve this message.
Get that nigga out of here too. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Overlord. This guy needs to retire. I'm tired of him as far as Mitch McConnell. And then Overlord comments on Robert F. Kennedy fucking voice. His voice is getting worse. I hope Robert F. Kennedy stays behind the scenes so I don't have to listen to him. Robert F. Kennedy is essentially Ben Carson on Trump's first damn shit. Ben Carson over urban schools. That's who Robert F. Kennedy is going to be. A filler like Ben Carson. RFK is gonna make us healthy again. Ain't that a bitch? I can tell he cares. The nigga don't give a god. He's just trying to keep the Kennedy name alive. Okay, Joe. So this isn't about Trump. Democrats need to take a long, hard look at themselves. Yeah, they do.
There are so many questions for the Democrats to answer, but one of them, the one that's that I just saw, that's going to be staring them in the face for some time if they don't do something about it, is that 45% of Hispanics voted for Donald Trump.
45.
We've all been talking about a new Republican Party. There needs to be a new Republican Party. This morning, this is about as bleak as any time for Democrats since the so-called 1984 San Francisco Democrats. It's time for the Democrats to take a good, long, hard look at how this happened. And if they just say Trump bad, Democrats virtuous, they're going to keep losing. Because this, again, is so widespread. This is not about just Donald Trump. This is about the Democratic Party and being radically disconnected from the rest of the country. Look at the map.
Clear as day. I mean, and I kind of echoed this some time ago, especially during the Palestine issue with Aaron Bushnell setting himself on fire, understanding the propaganda behind that, and the United States had rearing his real ugly head. The Democrats only want to keep us in chains. I've been suggesting a new party, but a new party is not going to get us into the White House and back in power immediately. We're fucked. We need actual Democratic people that give a fuck and not sell us a whole host of bullshit for us to keep chewing, so when they get in power, they don't do shit. The same shit I've been talking about in all these other shows over the last few years is the same reason why Donald Trump is president today. It's the same reason why 12 million Americans decided not to vote in this specific election versus the last. It's why the same reason why 12 million Americans decided not to put their trust in someone like Kamala Harris, who has continuously showed that she is fit for the position, regardless of what the circumstances are. They do not trust Democrats. And soon we will learn that we do not trust Republicans. We will have no else to turn but besides a smooth ass nigga that's a Democrat giving us and telling us everything the fuck we want to hear. When are we going to have some people that actually give a fuck about us and do something about us? When? Overlord. Oh, I'm sorry. Sean Thomas says RFK cares about removing highly processed foods. Somebody should have been gave a damn about that. That's not impressing me. This shit been going on for way too damn long. And the government don't really give a damn. So RFK, good luck. And remember, what the hell did Ben Carson do? RFK ain't finna be doing nothing. They just screamed Trump, bad, and racism every day. I mean, yeah. But so did the damn Republicans. Yes, they're totally bad people. Totally bad people. Very terrible, folks. She's incompetent. Joe Biden's incompetent. Inflation through the roof, folks. Totally. Are you better off now or never, folks? Totally, people. Okay. Come on now. Same shit. Nigga talk about slapping bitches and grabbing them by the pussies and shooting bitches and shooting reporters and journalists and shit. And the nigga's elected president. This bitch dancing outside and shit, enjoying herself. The bitch is a whore. What? They see this bitch walking with Motel, whoever the hell, looking like one of his groupies. She's a whore. Come on, y'all. You niggas try to find anything and everything as to why they won't elect a woman to president. Newsflash. Kamala Harris was indeed our first woman president. Kamala Harris was indeed our first woman president. I'll make sure I show y'all proof. Joe Biden had colonoscopy surgery, and November 19th, 2021, she became the first for 85 minutes. Make sure I put this on for y'all. For 85 minutes, she became the first president of the United States. She didn't bomb shit! For 85 minutes, Kamala Harris became the first woman president, a woman with presidential power. Joe Biden on Friday temporarily transferred power to Vice President Harris while he was under amnesia for a routine colonoscopy for 1 hour and 25 minutes, according to the White House. The nation's first female, first black, first South Asian vice president broke yet another barrier when she temporarily stepped into the acting role. Harris worked from her office in the West Wing while Biden was under anesthesia. POTUS spoke with Vice President, whom the White House corresponded at approximately 11 a.m. this morning. POTUS was in good spirits and at the time resumed his duties. This bitch was indeed the president of the United States for a small amount of time. We experienced her, ladies and gents. No woman can say that. So, them saying that she's not presidential, newsflash, bitch, she already was. Let me go ahead and get into these comments. I can tell he cares. Talking about RFK. I can tell when someone cares. I can tell you care. Scamula cares. But Donald Trump just cares about himself. I mean, well, shit. I don't know what else to tell you. Why you didn't help niggas get out and vote. RFK cares about the high food and all that shit. How did I miss all that? Maybe some do care about overall. Most don't. Democrats always say, I'll do next time just to make sure you elect me next year. Overlord said that. That's true. Actually, both parties just insult each other more than them promoting what they will do. I mean, Trump said we have concepts of ideas. Would you let the man clap your cheeks if it meant Kamala Harris would win election? Brother, come on now. Speaking of which, and I want to show y'all this video too before. I definitely want to show y'all this video of this chick definitely clapping back. Let me make sure I get here so I can show y'all this shit. Cause this girl ate. All right, let's check this out. Let's see if we can hear this shit.
To the Latinos for Trump, when he removes birthright citizenship and enacts deportation, mass deportation. I hope you know this is what you wanted. To the blacks for Trump, when he gives police full immunity and we see police violence at an all-time high. I hope you know this is what you wanted. To the women for Trump, when you ultimately get pregnant and suffer pregnancy complications and the fetus is no longer viable, but you are forced to carry death inside your body and it could kill you and maybe does. I hope you know this is what you wanted. And lastly, to the gays for Trump, when he enacts mass annulments of all of our marriages, I hope you know this is what you wanted. You will no longer be entitled to your kids or that home that you share with your partner. Congratulations. I have nothing for you except concepts of thoughts and prayers.
Just concepts of thoughts and prayers, goddammit. That's all we got for you niggas. Are you happy? America? Are you happy? Did we forget about all this shit? Or we just don't give a fuck enough? Sean Thomas. So we already had our first woman president. So don't whine. We still can have a chance in the future. Yeah, Overlord said. Sean Thomas says, all we want is competent candidates. Don't just vote for someone because they black or a woman. How, can you tell me, Sean Thomas, in what fucking way is she not competent? I agree, Sean. I would love to see a woman or a black person, but I want a good person like Obama, you know? How the fuck isn't she good? Thank you, Overlord, my brother. I don't know if he'll do all that. How isn't she competent? We just heard her fucking concession speech. which is way more confident than the lack of concession speech we got from Donald Trump when a nigga was president and lost to Joe Biden. How do we have these candidates and we try to make them seem dumb and stupid and try to believe that even though they show us completely the other side of what it isn't? A nigga just sent me a message on Instagram saying, well, it was the lesser of two evils. In what fucking world? This bitch has had a fucking history of locking niggas up who were criminals. Even so much so that she was going against a nigga in an election against a criminal. But she's incompetent. We get down to the debate. She eat this nigga alive. If she was the prosecutor, the nigga would have got life for campaign fraud. Who the hell get life for campaign fraud? If she was the damn prosecutor, you better believe it. But she's incompetent because she is evil. When her resume says 9 times out of 10 she's did her part. And the niggas in California talking about she got niggas locked up. Then the main niggas that deserve to get locked up. Because if it wasn't her black ass, it was going to be some white niggas giving them life in prison. And let's not even forget she's also responsible for helping the legalization of marijuana in California. Which she was trying to do on a federal, national level. Y'all niggas are retarded. All y'all dumbasses trying to make this justification for this stupid shit when none of you niggas had did your fucking research. She didn't really do much or didn't convince me she knew what she was talking about. She seemed like she was propped up with no real policies. She seemed like she was... Okay. See, because clearly, I got to go back. I got to go back. And show you this clip, Sean Thomas, so you can shut that shit up.
There's no question what the top issue is for voters, the economy. That is the issue that was cited in our USA Today subject poll by 30% of respondents. The number 2 issue we found is one that is particularly cited by Republicans, and that is immigration. The third issue is democracy. There's a fourth issue, let me mention, which is reproductive rights. Donald Trump talks about tariffs. He's talked about imposing a tariff even on every foreign import in this country. He sees that as a way to finance other issues, including the tax cuts he wants to continue. Kamala Harris talks about wanting to build an economy that works for the middle class. She would let the tax cuts expire for the wealthiest Americans, and she would invest in some particular things like helping people with a down payment on their first house. He supports the mass deportation of people who are in this country illegally. Kamala Harris also has taken a tougher stance on border security than she did a couple years ago, but she also pairs that with talking about finding a pathway to citizenship for some people who are here.
What were you saying, Sean Thomas? With no real policies? And the only nigga with no real policies is a nigga that said on national television that he has concepts of policies. Her whole website was lacking policy for a while also. Did you forget the bitch was thrown in this position? The bitch had 107 days, and you're talking about what? The second day that this hoe was announced that she was going to be president? Are you fucking serious? Come on. You see how we pick and find needles here with Kamala Harris? But allowing this nigga to say, grab them by the pussy and we elect him twice after that? Like she didn't even have a policy page until the presidential debate. Fundamentally, we're fucked as Americans. We are fucked. I'm sitting here arguing with assholes like this. We're fucked. Global news reacts to the U.S. election results.
Russia's foreign ministry spokesman, Craig, saying hallelujah. And we've been speaking to Russian officials, also not authorized to speak on the record. One telling us less predictability is incoming. Another saying there is a chance for a truce or at least some kind of change. President Zelensky of Ukraine saying congratulations before crucially adding, I appreciate President Trump's commitment to the peace through strength. So trying already to advocate that Donald Trump will support Ukraine. Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel's comments, congratulations on history's greatest comeback, calling it a historic return, addressing his comments on X to Donald and Melania Trump. An Iranian spokesman saying US elections do not concern us and will not affect Iran's livelihoods. So a very different perspective there from Iran.
So mixed emotions around the world. Some blatantly lying out here, like Vladimir Zelensky. You know, I hope we can continue Trump ain't gonna give a fuck about you. The nigga tried to do a quid pro quo on you to stall funds that the government approved for your ass, just so you can get information about Hunter Biden on your potential. Nigga, please. We forgot about that. We completely forgot about that, right? I mean, we heard the fucking phone call, right? Here's Putin, exactly his comments on why he doesn't plan on congratulating Trump.
Donald Trump, once again elected to the White House. Leaders around the world congratulating him on his historic comeback. But there is one leader who apparently has no plans to congratulate him. Russia's Vladimir Putin, according to the Kremlin.
When asked the question about why hasn't Vladimir Putin congratulated President-elect Donald Trump, he said this: let's not forget that we're talking about an unfriendly country that is both directly and indirectly involved in a war against our state.
All right. We got Sean Thomas. At this point, you should run for president. Nigga, at this point, you should listen to presidential candidates, actually pay attention to their motherfucking policies, and then speak the right shit out here. Because this shit you talking can kiss my ass. President-elect Trump pending legal cases. This is going to get interesting because, mind you, he was supposed to get sentenced on the 23rd of November, which was pushed back because of the elections.
Donald Trump is now the first convicted felon to win the White House. His return could result in him avoiding serious consequences for any of his criminal cases. Trump's most pressing legal issue? He's scheduled to be sentenced November 26th on 34 felony counts for falsifying business records to cover up a 2016 hush money payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels.
His lawyers have been pushing to delay this, and it seems that was a pretty smart decision, because now you don't just have a criminal defendant, you have a president-elect who is going to be sentenced. And I do not see any way that this judge now sentences him to any kind of meaningful time. I don't see how he gives him any jail time at all.
There are also 2 federal cases against Trump, subverting the 2020 election and for retaining classified documents. Both cases may be stopped immediately because of a long-standing Department of Justice policy barring the prosecution of a sitting president. Special counsel Jack Smith could turn over the January 6th case to career prosecutors or issue a report about his findings, but Trump would face no legal consequences. The classified documents case has already been dismissed by federal judge Aileen Cannon, and now the special counsel's appeal to reinstate it would likely be withdrawn. Trump's criminal case in Georgia produced an iconic image of the campaign, his mugshot. Any trial would now likely have to wait until 2029.
Shit crazy. Shit's outrageous. And if I was that goddamn judge, I'd still sentence the shit out of him. Because he's president-elect, he still was found guilty on all 46 counts. Lock his ass up. And if he's locked away and can't serve his duties, at that point, ladies and gentlemen, y'all had just elected J.D. Vance as your fucking president. But for us to allow for him to be convicted and get away because he won an election is bullshit. We wouldn't let that go for any senator. We wouldn't let that go for any fucking governor. There's no reason why we should allow that for the president of the United States of America. Lock him up, as they said about Hillary Clinton, who didn't face charges, by the way. And it wasn't because of no presidential election. It's because the bitch was found not guilty. Kamala Harris calls Trump, which is what didn't happen when Trump lost for Biden. Kamala Harris calls and concedes the presidential race, which is something that is known. It's tradition. The peaceful transfer of power.
We're coming on the air right now because we have just learned that Kamala Harris, the current vice president, has called now President-elect Donald Trump in a concession speech.
And we understand she will be making remarks to the nation at 4 p.m. We want to bring in senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell now. Kelly, what have you learned about what was discussed on that phone call?
Well, advisors to the vice president say that she placed the call to Donald Trump, the now president-elect, and wanted to talk about the need for a peaceful transition and being a president for all Americans. A concession call used to be commonplace. It used to be an absolute basic of election life in America. And that changed when Donald Trump did not concede in 2020. And so part of what we're seeing from the Biden-Harris administration, already from President Biden and certainly from Kamala Harris, who, of course, is feeling, great, I'm sure, disappointment and distress over losing, trying to get back to those institutions. So they are going to have the conversation. She will make remarks to the public later this afternoon.
And as we've seen those remarks in full at the beginning of this show, we're going to get a little taste. Lastly, of what she said, given that even though she concedes this right, she does not concede the fight that keeps us going.
My heart is full today, full of gratitude for the trust you have placed in me, full of love for our country, and full of resolve. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for, but hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight for freedom, for opportunity, for fairness, and the dignity of all people. That is a fight I will never give up.
Congratulations to Kamala Harris on the journey and the experience. Please come back. Don't let this be the last time. And with you having the proper amount of time to fight, baby girl, you're going to win. Just not against Donald Trump. In this sick-ass world, there's still sexism that still lies. Still men that feel like women aren't inept enough to run the world. And every characteristic that this young lady has showed me that she is competent, that she isn't evil, that she actually does give a damn, that she cares about the American people. And the American people, in the midst of their own selfish tendencies, turned their back on the very core principles that made America America. Multiracial, minorities, coming in making a name for themselves, and us allowing a minority of her stature to get the highest ranking position that this world can offer you would have spoke volumes, which is the same thing that would have happened if Hillary Clinton won, and spoke so much more volumes because she was a person of color, just like Barack Obama did. But because she didn't have a penis is the reason why she didn't win. Because Joe Biden didn't do what he needed to do fully on the large scale, not really understanding that he did a lot. A lot of shit that niggas couldn't see or feel economically that we will see going into the Trump's presidency, which has no effect on Trump himself, but is going to be based off of perception. America is more riddled with people who are confused, who believe in nonsense and the news that are on their internet. Donald Trump won because he was on stream with Aiden Ross, because he was on stream with Joe Rogan. He touched all the proper places because the internet. He got the young vote, the first voters. Ladies and gents, America has chose. And I hope you're happy with the carnage that is going to come during his second term. Because at this point, he's unbound, he's unchained, and unhinged. And if you felt anybody was incompetent of the job of the presidency, it is Donald J. Trump, the now elect, 47th elect president of the United States of America. Donald J. Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our show. Donald Trump dominated Kamala Harris with the male black vote and the Hispanic and women. And the fact that 12 million people decided not to vote for this election. $1 million question is, why did 12 million people vote for Joe Biden, who clearly it was not as best shape and fit for office like that of Kamala Harris? I pray for us. And I'm saddened. But hey, America has spoken. And we must respect the results and move forward. Sean Thomas said, good night, my brother. Y'all be safe. This is the end of the show. Holla at your boy and keep y'all head up, because the fight ain't over, baby. And like Sean Thomas said, and Overlord, one of them niggas said yesterday, now we got plenty of content to cover, niggas. Holla at your boy.
Looking at this. Holla, 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 holla. Holla, 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 let me holler at you, 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 let me holler at you. Holla, 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 holla. Hey yo, hey yo.